Right now, you probably know the exact time without even trying. A glance at your wrist, a glance at your phone. Done. But for most of human history, there was no number to check. So how did your ancestors know when to wake up, when to eat, when to sleep? The answer was written across the sky the whole time. The very first clock wasn't built. It was cast. A shadow, falling across the ground, moving slowly as the sun crossed the sky. Ancient Egyptians noticed this pattern and turned it into a tool. A sundial, marks in stone, one for each stretch of the day. No numbers, no hands, just light and shadow doing all the work. But shadows disappear the moment the sun goes down, so people needed a second clock, one that didn't need the sun at all. In ancient Greece, an inventor named Catalepsy built something strange, a water clock, a container with a small hole, dripping at a steady, measurable pace. As the water dropped, it filled a second container marked with lines. Rising water became rising time. Somewhere else entirely, people solved the same problem with fire, a candle marked with evenly spaced lines down its length. As it burned, the flame ate through one mark after another, a quiet, glowing countdown that anyone could read in the dark. In medieval monasteries, monks needed something even more reliable. Prayer couldn't wait for weather, so they rang bells at fixed points through the day and night. Every town within earshot suddenly shared the same rhythm. Time, for the first time, became something a whole community could hear together. Sailors, far from any bell or sundial, looked somewhere else entirely. The stars, certain constellations, rose and set on a schedule as fixed as any clock. Farmers, meanwhile, tracked something slower, the turning of entire seasons. When a certain star touched the horizon, they knew planting season had arrived. Every one of these methods measured the same invisible thing in a completely different way. Shadows, water, fire, sound, stars. All of them were just the world, quietly keeping score. Today, you check a screen and never think twice about where that number came from. But somewhere underneath that number is still a shadow, still a drop of water, still a bell. You're not just reading a clock. You're reading thousands of years of people, all trying to answer the exact same question. Eventually, all of these methods started running into the same problem. Shadows moved with the seasons. Candles burned faster in a draft. Water clocks froze in winter. None of them agreed with each other, and for a long time, nobody minded. Time was local. Your village kept its own rhythm, and that was enough. Then, in the 14th century, something changed. Mechanical clocks began appearing in the towers of European cities. Gears, weights, and a slowly swinging mechanism replaced shadows and water entirely. For the first time, time didn't depend on sunlight, weather, or fire. It depended on machinery that never needed to sleep. A little later, in the 17th century, a scientist named Christian Huygens noticed something almost magical. A swinging pendulum, if built correctly, always takes the same amount of time to complete one swing, no matter how wide the swing starts. He used that single discovery to build the first pendulum clock, and suddenly, time became precise in a way it had never been before. But even then, towns still disagreed. Noon in one city could be several minutes off from noon in the next. Nobody noticed until trains started connecting those cities at high speed. Suddenly, a schedule only worked if every station agreed on the exact same minute. So in the 19th century, railways forced the world to adopt standardized time zones, collapsing thousands of local clocks into a handful of shared ones. That single shift changed something deeper than convenience. For the first time in history, a stranger on the other side of the world could know exactly what time it was for you without ever seeing your sky. Which brings you back to the phone in your pocket. That number on your screen isn't just a measurement anymore. It's an agreement, a promise between millions of people that this moment, right now, means the same thing to all of them at once. You didn't just inherit a clock. You inherited a conversation your ancestors have been having for thousands of years about what a moment is worth and how to make sure no one is ever truly out of time with everyone else.